This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jen Ah here at the Review-Journal studio. We're getting ready to take you live to the Las Vegas Metro Police Department headquarters. The department there will be honoring 63 employees for their bravery and excellence. The ceremony expected to start at 1 this afternoon, so in about a minute or so, employees will receive awards for community service, exemplary service, life-saving, and meritorious service. And we're already hearing some great stories about them. That one Metro police officer who had been only working for the department for a year was able to save a baby's life after performing CPR. Another officer will be awarded for helping a victim with a severed leg after crashing a scooter. The Digital Forensics Lab also expected to be recognized for their hard work. The ceremony will highlight 14 inspirational stories of outstanding work from both officers and civilians. We want to show you a look of the department's headquarters where the ceremony will be taking place here very shortly. It looks like the event is about to start here, so let's hand it over to Metro PD.
Before I get started, I'm going to apologize to the entire group. I know it's very significant to have your loved ones recognize your achievements, and unfortunately, because of COVID and everything associated with it, we are put in this sterile environment. But we're going to do the best we can to get through it, and I think we're going to have a very good ceremony and show due recognition for the achievements of each and every one of you individually. So let me give you just a little modicum of procedure. So when we call you up, or when Jamie, who will be reading the narrative, when she calls you up, it's going to be individual. You and I will shake hands, and if it's more than one person, you'll just receive the document. We'll take an individual picture. You move to the end of the stage, and then we'll bring you all together if it's a group commendation, okay? And we'll take a picture then. And then I'll tell you afterwards what the plan is for each and every one of you after the ceremony. So please, even if you've received your achievement, I need you to stick around because we're going to do a group photo afterwards, okay? And do me a favor, when you come up, whether you're vaccinated or not, I have been vaccinated, and remove your mask so it looks good in the photograph, okay? Sound fair? Why are you guys so somber? This is a good thing.
We're smiling.
You're all smiling under your mask? Remember, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This is actually the highlight of my day. Usually it's putting out fires all day, but we're going to move forward here. So please stand with me as we have the Honor Guard present our nation's colors. Honor Guard.
Honor Guard. Okay. Hunt. Gary. Colors. Forward. March. Teacher. Roll. Left. Face. Teacher. Colors.
All right, please join with me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
All right, we're just showing you the Las Vegas Metro Police Department ceremony honoring their employees. We're experiencing some technical difficulties here, but we'll be back in just a moment with more on this ceremony. Joe Lombardo, the Clark County Sheriff, was hosting this event and saying that he wanted people to brighten up. They were all wearing their masks. They say they were smiling under their masks despite looking somber. And yeah, those officers should be very excited about being honored for their bravery in moments of crisis. We'll be bringing you their ceremony here in just a moment, so bear with us.
members since the pandemic. We hope today's ceremony is a sign that we are returning to normal, and we are grateful to be sharing the story of Metro today.
All right, you can hear Joe Lombardo's voice there. It looks like we got the feedback, so take a listen.
If you all want to know why this agency is a leader in law enforcement, attending our ceremony today will help you find out why. Okay, at this point I want to introduce a young lady that just hired on to the police department. Jamie, if you can come forward. And her last name is pronounced Yus. Yos. Depends on what state you're from.
Okay, I'll go with that.
So Jamie is a veteran of the media circus, the broadcast world, and she used to work here locally in Las Vegas. Was it Channel 3?
Channel 3.
Channel 3, and then she made her way to Phoenix for quite some time, and she applied for Carla Alston's job, and she was successful in that endeavor, and I'm happy to introduce her to you, the Metro community, and I look forward to her performance today. She's still on probation.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes. All right, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
All right, without further ado, let's do this.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Where's Jesse? Carlos, is Jesse?
Jesse's right there.
Before you get started, Jamie.
Okay.
Well, we can adjust them. All right. You ready?
Okay, just a quick reminder for everybody here, for the smaller groups, you'll come up when your section is called. When you come up to the foot of the stage, please step over here to the left, and then you'll come up on stage, accept the award from the sheriff, and get your picture taken. And after, as the sheriff said, afterwards we'll do a large group picture at the end, so please stay for that. Our first award this afternoon is the Unit Community Service Award. It is presented to a person who performs an extraordinary and continuing service to the community without risk to personal safety. Will the Heroes United Hockey Group please come forward? In October of 2018, a group of officers started a new chapter in their love for hockey and teamed up with Heroes United Hockey. The LVMPD also partnered with the Vegas Golden Knights to form the Las Vegas Knights Police Hockey Team. The team works with at-risk children to provide positive mentors and the opportunity to play hockey. Coaches incorporated Metro's I Care values into their curriculum. The first year, the team coached and mentored 25 children ages 6 to 17 from the Lake Mead and Jones area. In January of 2019, this program expanded to 25 more children in the Penwood and Arville area. The goal of the program is to decrease crime by building positive relationships between police officers and children in low-income neighborhoods by utilizing hockey to build community and to strengthen families. We salute the team for successfully coaching and mentoring 50 at-risk children while on duty and off duty, resulting in improved community relations. We present the Unit Community Service Award to the following officers. Lieutenant Philip Merges. Sergeant, oops, sorry.
Are you going to do individuals now? I saw you running around with your head cut off. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay.
Sergeant Abu Dhabi Lewis. Officer Mike Boone.
He's on the bench.
Officer Sergio Felix. Officer Jeanette Gutierrez. Officer Jennifer Kennedy.
Squat down a little bit.
Officer Justin Roth. Officer Brad Strobin.
Yeah, that's yours.
Officer Sam Whitwer. Officer Justin White. And retired manager Shannon Merges.
Okay, everybody, you're gonna get together for a group
Right,
photo.
Bill, look in 2 rows. So the first row down here, second row down here.
2 rows, listen to Sheriff.
Is there a hockey stick? All right.
I had it.
Somebody show me how to hold it. All right, squeeze in. Get up close. There you go.
Right there. You'll be in the center. Okay. Come in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more, just one more. 1, 2, 3.
Hold on, Jesse. Yes, sir. Bill, hold that in front of you.
For endorsements. 1, 2, 3.
All right, congratulations. You got it.
All right, our next award for community service goes to an individual who is definitely prepared for anything. Will Ms. Cordero please step forward? Many people in this room have participated in a tabletop exercise. These part in helping this agency workshop critical events and dynamic scenarios. In 2019, Emergency Management Analyst Diana Cordero successfully planned and executed 29 tabletop exercises. That included exercises for several large-scale multi-agency operations. The largest event that year was a full-scale exercise conducted on November 13, 2019, which took several hundreds of hours to plan over 6 months. Hundreds of first responders, along with more than 25 partner agencies, participated. Diana is the model for the department's I Care values as she readily accepts input and never hesitates to ask questions of anyone. Her commitment to LVMPD's preparedness program has made us better as an agency, a community, and enhanced Las Vegas's reputation as the entertainment capital of the world. We present the Community Service Award to Diana Cordero.
Okay, now tell the whole audience how you say your last name.
Cordero. That's a weird one. You did great.
It was close, James.
I was close.
I'm not gonna fire you. You're all right.
Our next group, well, I know. You owed me that one, Sheriff. Our next group will receive the Unit Exemplary Service Award, which is given to a unit acting as a team for a singular accomplishment of substance without risk to personal safety but under adverse and difficult conditions. Will the Digital Forensics Group please come forward? Crucial evidence in a homicide or sexual assault case can be embedded in digital devices. It takes a particular set of skills to retrieve that information, and LVMPD relies on the Digital Forensic Lab for that task. Prompted by a mandate from the sheriff to reduce violent crime, the Digital Forensics Lab upped its game in 2019. Their advancements garnered actionable intelligence through the rapid identification of suspects. Digital Forensics also built a new state-of-the-art digital lab, launched a mobile forensics lab, added capabilities for video response and forensics, network investigations, drone forensics, and vehicle infotainment forensics, all while managing more than 1,300 cases, a 69% increase from 2018, and losing a quarter of our trained DFL detectives. We are here to show our thanks for the determination of the people who made this unit a success. We present the award for Unit Exemplary Service to the following employees. Officer Kevin Beck. Officer Gary Gorski. Officer Shannon Hines.
Tomato's not here.
Oh, Jen, you made me lose my place.
Hovanek.
Thanks. Officer Hobaness. Hovannes. Officer Matthew Hovannes. Officer Ryan Jacobs. Officer Barry Jones. Officer Jeffrey Lomas. Officer Brand. Officer Johnny Rodriguez. Officer Cody Vigil. Investigations, Kevin Skihon. Computer Forensics Lab Supervisor, Zachary Johnson. Computer Forensics Lab Supervisor, Andrew Kernew. Computer Forensics Lab Supervisor, Michael Mangione. Digital Evidence Analyst, Roderick Garcia. And Administrative Assistant, Doreen Ruppel.
Just stay right here. Go down the long street. Just wait for a second. Is that it? Go down there and start the rain. Good? All right, split yourselves in half and turn sideways. Now start chin. Nice and tight. There you go. Pretty good, Jeff?
Yes, sir. Here we go on me. 1, 2, 3. Good. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Good job, guys.
That's why I was waiting to last for me.
All right, get out of here, go.
Our next award for unit exemplary service goes to a group that worked as a team to save a life on Christmas Day. Will the next group please come forward? Christmas Day 2019, Bolden Area Command officers had just arrived on a call to find a desperate woman standing on the US 95 bridge overpass over Lake Mead. The team of officers who arrived established rapport with the woman, shut down traffic, and secured bolt cutters to cut through the fence. Officer Paul Longovan spoke with the distraught woman as she lost her footing and was hanging on for dear life. Officer Garrett Fitzgerald arrived and requested the tactical vehicle with bolt cutters. Officer Fitzgerald began to cut a hole in the chain-link fence as Officer Longovan convinced the woman to not end her life and crawl through the fencing. Officers Anthony Coleman and Michelle Gill showed empathy and compassion with the woman and showed her life was worth more than she had realized. Because of that great teamwork, officers were able to save a life that Christmas Day. We present the Unit Exemplary Award to Officer Anthony Coleman. Officer Michelle Gill. Officer Paul Longovan.
Back up right there, Paul. Michelle, you in the middle. Perfect. So good, Jesse?
1, 2, 3.
Hold on, dude. Close for that guy. I can't tell who it is.
Nobody important.
Are you in trouble?
This next award for Unit Exemplary Service is for a group that was determined to save a life but had to find the caller first. Will the next group please come forward? On February 3rd, 2020, 2 words could be heard on the 911 line with barely a whisper. Help me. Communications specialist Alyssa Ford stayed on the line to get more information, but the caller was silent. Sergeant Timothy Frederick and Officer Paul Lomaglio responded. Unfortunately, the address officers were dispatched to was not exact. Specialist Ford researched previous calls and the search pointed the officers to a possible location. As they walked the neighborhood, Sergeant Frederick noticed a package on the front porch of the house that was from a Diabetic Alert Dogs of America. At the same time, the dispatcher heard a dog barking in the background of the open line, and the officers confirmed they could also hear a dog. Believing the caller was in medical distress, a forced entry was made. Sergeant Frederick utilized the dog pull to safely remove the alert dog, and Officer Lomaglio remained with the caller until medical arrived. The caller appeared to be suffering from a seizure. The caller was transported to the hospital with a dangerously low blood sugar level. The attending doctor stated without the immediate intervention, the patient would have likely succumbed to her illnesses. With the help of the dedicated dispatcher and 2 officers, they were able to save a life that day. We present the following individuals with the Unit Exemplary Service Award. Sergeant Timothy Frederick. Officer Paul Lomaglio.
Thank you.
And Communications Specialist Alyssa Ford. We thank you for your dedication.
That's it. Hey, she's like a little kid. How long you been on? Almost 4 years. 3.5.
Julio and Tula is not going to make it, but everybody else is.
Wait right there. Don't go anywhere. Don't go out. Listen, you get to know. Close.
One, two, three.
Good job. Good job.
Our last award for exemplary service is for an officer who would not give up on a young woman, even though she wanted to give up on herself. Will Sergeant Christopher Cooney please come forward? On Thursday, March 5th, 2020, at the 8th floor of the Paris Hotel parking garage, a 21-year-old woman stood on the ledge poised to end her life. Then Officer Cooney was the first to arrive. He approached the distraught woman with deep cuts scored into her forearms. On the blood, "I'm sorry." The message was visible to officers on the scene as she continued crying. Sergeant Cooney began consoling her and building rapport to prevent her from jumping. After about an hour of pleading with the woman, she stepped off the ledge and into the arms of the medical team that was waiting for her. Later, while in the ambulance, Sergeant Cooney asked her what it was that caused her not to jump. She said, quote, "You didn't keep switching the person I was talking to. Even though I wasn't looking at you, you kept looking at me, letting me know you were paying attention. You kept talking about things as if they were going to happen, while I kept talking about things not happening. That's what really got me." For his patience, compassion, and commitment to preserving life, we present the Exemplary Service Award to Sergeant Christopher Cooney. Our next award is for life-saving. It is only awarded for an extraordinary act or effort that resulted in the actual saving of a human life who would have died without their intervention. Will Officer Gennaro Garcia please come forward? Gunfire erupted in the early morning hours on June 15, 2019. Officer Gennaro Garcia was dispatched to an apartment complex on East Harmon Avenue and found a man on the ground with wounds to his head and his chest. The victim's head wound turned out to be non-threatening. But when Officer Garcia cut the man's shirt away, he found a large gunshot wound. The injury was known as a sucking chest wound that bubbled with blood as the victim took each breath. The victim was incoherent but conscious. Officer Garcia grabbed a hyphen vent chest seal and applied it to the entry wound, while another officer held pressure on the exit wound. He then placed another seal on the exit wound. That seal appeared to help the victim's breathing almost immediately. Medical personnel arrived and transported him to UMC Trauma. The trauma surgeon credited Officer Garcia's treatment with saving the victim's life. It was later learned that the victim was shot while hanging out with someone he believed to be a friend. The victim's wounds could have become a homicide, but since his recovery, he has become a key witness to the investigation. We present the Life-Saving Award to Officer Gennaro Garcia. Thank you for your service. Our next life-saving award took quick action, and their quick thinking got one officer through a very tense situation. Will Corrections Officer Garnett please come forward? At 4 a.m. on January 18, 2020, Corrections Officer Maribel Rivera noticed the glow of emergency lights coming from one of the cells at the Clark County Detention Center. Officer Rivera quickly opened the cell door remotely, and an inmate stepped out shouting that there was something wrong. Her cellmate wasn't breathing. Officer Rivera and Corrections Officer Craig Garnett noticed the inmate's face, arms, neck, and lips were turning blue. She had stopped breathing. Officer Rivera began doing chest compressions while Officer Garnett assisted until medical arrived. Medical staff administered 2 doses of Narcan to the inmate, who was later transported to the hospital. Early CPR efforts by the 2 corrections officers helped save the life of the inmate. We present the Life-Saving Award to Corrections Officer Craig Garnett. There are some calls that nothing can prepare you for, but luckily our officer was prepared with a cool demeanor and some helpful skills to save the life of a child. Will Officer Fox please come forward? Officer Jordan Fox was helping another officer with a stop near Twain and Maryland Parkway when she was approached by a man holding a toddler. The man stated that his 2-year-old son just had a seizure and was requesting an ambulance. While speaking with Officer Fox, the father said his son was not breathing. Officer Fox quickly but calmly looked at the toddler and confirmed this. She laid the child on the ground and performed CPR. The child began breathing and was later transported to Sunrise Hospital. The attending physician later stated that Officer Fox's actions helped the child survive. We present the Life-Saving Award to Officer Jordan Fox with our gratitude. Our next award for life-saving is for 2 officers who were determined to save a little boy. Will Officers Contreras and Nuskin please come forward? In 2020, 4 children died in Clark County from drowning. But on March 30th, 2020, 1 child was lucky enough to escape becoming a tragic statistic. Officers Vidal Contreras and Kyle Nuskin responded to a call for service where a 1-year-old boy had fallen into the swimming pool and was not breathing. Officers took control of a chaotic scene where people were panicking and began CPR on the young boy. For more than 2 minutes, they worked relentlessly until Las Vegas Fire Rescue arrived on the scene. The boy was transported to the hospital where it was later learned he survived. The attending physician said the officer's CPR efforts not only helped the boy survive, but gave him a better chance for a positive neurologic outcome. We present the life-saving award to the following officers. Officer Vidal Contreras.
Where were you looking? I was looking there, sir.
I'm going to tell you a little screen, that's my fault.
Officer Kyle Nuskin.
Right there. Put that fancy blue suit in the middle. Good job. Show yourself there.
Our next award for life-saving goes to an officer who got more than he bargained for on his daily commute. Will Officer Magazine please come forward? Officer Jovan Magazine was on his way to work on April 18, 2020, and as he neared the intersection of Hacienda and Durango, he spotted a scooter down in the road ahead of him. He stopped, used his vehicle to block traffic, and went to render aid. The victim was bleeding profusely. Her left leg was severed above the knee. Knowing the woman was in dire need of help, Officer Magazine ran back to his vehicle, called 911, and grabbed his tourniquet. He quickly applied the tourniquet, stopping the bleeding. When medics arrived, they initially believed the victim would possibly die. However, after being transported, the attending physician stated that because the tourniquet was applied properly, there was no additional bleeding, likely saving her life. We hereby present the life-saving award to Officer Jovan Magazine and commend him for his heroic actions. Our last award for life-saving goes to an officer who responded to a common accident that ended with a lucky set of circumstances for the victim. Will Officer Evans please come up? On April 17, 2020, a resident was cleaning his handgun when it accidentally discharged and struck him. It's a story that officers unfortunately hear too often, but sometimes 2 separate events converge at just the right time to help someone. Officer Michael Evans had just finished an LVMPD patrol medicine class to learn advanced training for treating gunshot wounds. When he arrived, the man was bleeding heavily from a gunshot wound to his left leg. Officer Evans provided calm and firm instruction to a panicked wife while applying his tourniquet to the man's left leg. He did this several crucial minutes before the arrival of EMTs. When the gunshot victim was admitted to the hospital, the wounds were considered life-threatening. The attending physician later stated that further blood loss could have proven lethal. By Officer Evans taking the initiative to learn more about life-saving techniques, he was the right officer at the right place at the right time. We present the life-saving award to Officer Michael Evans. Our next award is for Unit Meritorious Service. The Meritorious Award is given to a group of a highly unusual accomplishment under adverse conditions with some degree of hazard to their life or another person. Will the next group please come forward? On April 9th, 2020, a man with large wounds to both arms lay bleeding in a desert area. Officers arrived to assist the Clark County Fire Department because the man was threatening to kill anyone who came near him, including police and medical staff. Edged weapons were on the ground next to the bleeding man, who was highly agitated. The sergeant and responding officers formulated an immediate action team and a plan to safely take the subject into custody. The plan was communicated to awaiting fire and medical personnel who were ready to transport the man to UMC once he was in custody. The plan worked, allowing the subject to safely be taken into custody without further injury. The patient was suffering from shock on arrival and lost at least 40% of his total blood volume from self-inflicted lacerations. The emergency care physician later stated that the quick action of this team likely saved that man's life. We present the Unit Meritorious Service Award to the following officers for a job well done. Officer Michael Alexander. Officer Laren Cook. Officer Andrew DeVito. Officer Unique Durrell.
Right there. Come on. Maybe turn. One way and turn. There you go. Scoot down just a little bit. There you go. Good job.
1, 2, 3.
Get it?
Yeah, sure.
Good. Good job. You have to go to Creech now?
No, you don't know.
De-escalation training has recently become a national discussion, but in this next case, it was a real-world application that worked in favor of an armed ex-con who was found with a missing teen. Will the next group please come forward? A panicked mother contacted the police after she found her teenage daughter missing on February 15, 2020. Sergeant James LaRosa, officers Kevin Dion and Jose Zavala managed to track the missing teen to a residential street where she was found with an adult male in a car. The team was able to get the teen out of the car and safely with her mother. Officers ordered the suspect out of the vehicle, but he refused. The officers attempted to get the suspect out. He still resisted. Officer Zavala entered the vehicle from the passenger side and found the suspect was armed with a gun near his leg. The suspect began to assault officers and again attempted to free his arm. Officers Zavala, Dion, and Sergeant LaRosa, in a coordinated effort, extracted the man from the vehicle. He was found to be a felon convicted of violent crimes. The de-escalation techniques and team efforts resulted in the suspect being arrested without escalation of force. We commend the following officers with the Unit Meritorious Service Award for de-escalating what could have been a deadly encounter. Officer Kevin Dion. And Officer Jose Zavala. That's it, Sheriff.
All right. All right, we're going to make up for the families not being here, so I need all of you to stand up and give each other a round of applause, all right? Good job, Jamie. All right, before you sit down, give Jamie a round of applause. There you go, Jamie.
Thank you, sir.
So should we keep her or fire her? All right. Good thing you don't have a union.
It looks like the sheriff is just about to wrap up the ceremony. You just heard from Las Vegas Metro Police Department. More than 60 employees there being honored for their bravery in moments of crisis. The Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo there still speaking at the event. He was the one who hosted this event, and it gave out each of the awards. Many of them were awarded for their work in the community, for mentoring children through sports like hockey. Others were awarded for their teamwork, especially the forensics lab, and other officers for saving the lives of children and adults, in some cases even preventing suicides, reminding them that their lives are worth living. We heard some officers also gave medical attention to victims in life-threatening situations, and thanks to their quick thinking on the spot, saved their lives. After receiving the awards, the officers all took off their masks for a picture afterwards, all smiles. And we here at the Review Journal also want to say congratulations and thank you for your service. To hear in full detail these inspirational stories, we'll have full coverage on this special ceremony hosted by the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, posted on our website. We'll also feature it on our evening newscast, 7 p.m. I'm Jen Ah. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We'll see you later tonight at 7.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.